Hey guys, so welcome to labor laws lecture series, and as you guys are aware, we are discussing about labor law one paper of a KSLU LLB course, and we are discussing Unit 4, the Employee Compensation Act of 1923. This is the fifth video in the series of Employee Compensation Act of 1923. In the first four videos, we discussed concept and importance of Social Security, overview of the Employee Compensation Act, and key definition: employee, employer, dependent, partial dependent, and total disablement. In this particular video, we are going to discuss about employees' liability for compensation and its condition and exceptions. Section 3 of the Employees Compensation Act 1923 deals with employers' liability for compensation. Okay, employers are liable to pay compensation to employee in the following two cases. One is personal injury caused to employee due to an accident, and the second one is for any kind of occupational diseases contracted by employee. We know personal injury by accident, it can be two types. One is total disablement or partial disablement. This we discussed in detail in the definition of a disablement, right? So total disablement or partial disablement. And what is occupational disease? Occupational disease is because of the nature of the work or environment at the workplace. Employer may get some diseases. Those diseases are called as occupational diseases. The person who is working in dust in a mining, because of the dust in the mining, he may get contracted to asthma, right? Like this, any diseases which are attributable to the environment of the work, nature of the work, then it is called as an occupational disease, that we will discuss in a coming slides. Here first we will look into an injury which is caused by an accident. As you guys are aware, the injuries are caused by accidents can be of two types. One is a total and the second one is partial. And this act should arise, that the injury should arise to an employee by accident arising out of and in the course of his employment. Very, very important wording. These 7 words have been used in the court cases regularly. Accident arising out of and in the course of his employment. We will discuss up this is nothing but the accident which arises in the workplace and in the time. Okay, it talks about the duty and it talks about the time. We will discuss in detail later. Okay, the accident should arise because of the work and also during the employment period, and his employer shall be liable to pay compensation in accordance with the provision of the chapter. So if any accident happens arising out of an and in the course of employment, then employer shall liable to pay the compensation. So, but there are few exceptions to it. The first one is if any injury causes to employee, whether total or a partial, if it is not exceeding, the effect is not exceeding 3 days. If the effect of the injury is not more than 3 days, then employer need not to pay any compensation. And the second one, if any injury which is not resulting in death, any injury not resulting in death or not resulting in permanent total disablement. Okay, if any injury not resulting to death or resulting to permanent total disablement, then, and if that accident is attributable to employee is in a drinking, employee is working under the influence of a drinks or drugs, and or if he is willfully disobey the orders of the employer, and then he willfully remove the gears, safety guards, etc., like helmet and other things, if he removed and worked, under these circumstances employer need not to pay any compensation to employee. Okay, in under this negligence of employee, under negligence of employee, if death happens, then compensation to be given by employer. If total disablement happens, then also employer will pay the compensation. But if it is a partial disablement, then employer won't pay any compensation. Okay, as I told in the earlier video, earlier slide, right? Arising out of and in the course of employment. Okay. It is not enough that the injury arises in the course of employment. It must also arise out of employment. Okay. If person is in office and if he is doing his personal work, then any injury happens to him, whether we have to pay or not. That is what it means here. Okay. It is not necessary that he is in the office premises, but if it is and it also should arise out of the employment, the work what he is doing that related to his employment, and if it arises because of his employment, then only the compensation will be paid. The course of employment emphasize the time when the accident injury was caused. Okay, the course of employment, in the course of employment means it is a time, when the time, okay, at what time, whether it is office hours or not, that is what the course of employment deals with. And out of employment emphasizes that there must be a causal connection between the employment and accident injury. Okay, any incident happens or any injury happens, that should be related to an employment. If he is doing some other work and got injured, then it will not be, compensation will not be paid. This was held in the case of Bai Atmaram versus Bombay Port Trust. Who has to prove that accident is happened because of the employment, in the course of employment and out of the, and out of employment? Who has to prove that? The onus is on a claimant. Whoever files the case, the person has to prove that the incident happened, the injury happened out of and arising, the injury arised out of and in the course of employment. The claimant has to prove it. It is Chaugle Company Limited versus Srimati Felcidado case. In this case, it was decided that it was held that the onus is on the claimant to prove that accident happened out of and in the course of employment. An accident arising out of an employment occurs in the course of employment only. Confusing statement here, just I'm reading it once again. An accident arising out of an employment occurs in the course of employment only. It means if I'm doing some office work, okay, and if injury happens, okay, then it automatically it is in the course, right? In the course, like during the employment time, correct? So I'm in office from 9 to 5. Okay, I'm doing office work and injury happens. Automatically it is related to in the course of employment. Okay, an accident arising out of an employment occurs in the course of employment only. Whenever I am doing office work, it is certain that I am in office hours. I am doing an office job. So anything which arises out of an employment, that will be called as, that will also include in the course of employment. But the accident in the course of employment may not be arising out of employment. For example, I'm fighting. A person fights with his co-worker for some personal reason. But they are in office from office. Okay, it is a 10:30 a.m. which is a office hour. A and B starts fighting because of some personal reason. So it is an injury causes to Mr. A. So this is not related to employment. Okay, though it is happening in the course of employment, the accident happened in the course of employment but not related to employment. So an accident in the course of employment may not necessarily arise out of employment. Test for determining whether an accident arose out of employment was laid down in Lancashire versus Yorkshire Rail Company versus Haile. It was held that employee should be doing something in discharge of his duties to the employer. Okay. In this example, whatever we discussed, they are not doing any work related to employer. So, but in this particular case, Lancashire and Yorkshire Rail Company and Haile, it was held that employee should be doing something in discharge of his duties to the employer, whether directly or indirectly, imposed on him by the contract. This will be called as out of employment. Okay, so the person should be working towards his work as per the contract and during the office hours. That's the most important test to call it. It is an injury, official injury. Here is a few points on in the course of employment. As we discussed earlier, in the course of employment focuses morely on a time. Okay, then what is the office time? how do we find it out? Okay. Generally, offices start from 8:30 or 9 o'clock and ends at 5 to 6, right? This is a starting time and this is a ending time. This is called as an office hours. Anything happens even if I am at home and if I no. You should also be in a office premises at this time or office premises, or you should be out for office related work. Okay, it should be between 8:30 to 5 or office hours, whatever is stated in the contract. Generally, office timing is mentioned in the employment contract is office hours, but there is an exception to it. There is one exception to it. One is if the office provides a transport facility for a pickup and drop, then time of journey also is considered as an employment. Okay, in the course of employment, if office time is 8:30 and if a bus picks person at 7 a.m. from the house, or a car picks him up at 7 a.m. and make him to reach office at 8:30, this period is also considered as in the course of employment, provided this service is provided by an employer. If a person uses public transport to go to office, then his office hour starts from 8:30 only. Remember, if a transport facility given by employer, then at the time of boarding of a bus will be treated as in the course of employment. If it is or at the time of getting down of the bus, okay, that will be treated as in the course of employment. If a public transport is used, then once he reaches the office, once they reach the office, then only it will be considered as in the course of employment. This is a case here, the Best versus Agnes, Mr. Agnes. Best driver used office, this is a local transport in Bombay. So the driver of this used the office bus to reach the office and suffered accident on the way to office. So this is a case where employer is liable here because in the course of employment, when you board the bus, then only it starts in the course of employment. Here's the second case. Employee of a port used public transport to reach the office and met with an accident near the office. So he has not yet reached the office. He used the public transport and met with an accident. This will not be called as in the course of employment. This is a case of case where fought by commercial for the port of Kolkata, commissioner for the port of Kolkata versus Kanij Fatima. I hope you guys understood this point very clearly. So the exception to the general rule of 8 to 6, 8 to 5 or 9 to 6 office hours is if a transportation facility is provided by the management, the transportation time will also be included in the course of employment. Okay. If anything accident happens in the office premises, even without work, okay, this is very important. If they are not doing at least office work, they should not do any some personal work here. But if employee is in the office premises, then it will be called as in the course of employment, right? As long as he is in the office premises, it will be called as in the course of employment. Period of rest or lunch is also included. Even if they are going for a lunch and other things, lunch break, tea break, all these during this period also. But within office premises, if they are taking a rest or a lunch, that is also considered as in the course of employment. When employee reaches office in advance for some preparation, if employee reaches office in advance, that will also be considered as in the course of employment. Okay, when all we consider in the course of employment, generally office timings, and then employee in the premises even without the work if he is in the premises, and the rest period or a lunch period, and then if he comes to office in advance for a preparation. Only exception here for this rule is if employer provides a transportation facility, then transportation period will also be considered as in the course. Okay, the second type of area where employer is liable to pay compensation is occupational diseases contracted by the employee. Here schedule 3 of the act has given part A, 3 parts, part A, part B and part C. There are 3 parts for this. The list all these parts list down certain diseases and there is some conditions for it. Okay. Okay, if any diseases occupy, like if any faced by the employee, and the disease is in part A of the Schedule 3, any disease faced by the employee suffered by the employee, and that disease is in the list or a part A of the Schedule 3, then it is called as this disease is peculiar to the employment and employer has to pay compensation. Remember, if employee suffers any disease which is there in a part A of the Schedule 3, then it is the disease, this is occupational disease peculiar to the employment and employer has to pay the compensation. And there is a part B, okay, the part B of a Schedule 3. In the part B, whatever the diseases they have stated, if employee suffered from that disease, employer has to pay a compensation provided employee worked for more than 6 months in this particular job. Okay, if your employee worked more than 6 months, then only employer has to pay a compensation. Because if an employee moved from some company to here and then he faced the occupational disease, then the previous employer might be responsible, but if it is more than 6 months, then only the present employer is responsible. Okay, any diseases suffered by employee which are listed in part B, employer is liable to pay a compensation provided employee has served for more than 6 months. And there's a part C here. In case of employee who has worked in multiple employers of a similar nature, okay, worked in a mine 1, mine 2, mine 3, okay, and if he get occupied, if he suffered from some illness related to mining, okay, some illness related to mining in the employer third, M3, mining 3. So who is responsible for it? The specified, right, this the date, number of period. Here it was 6 months. Here the central government may specify the such period where M3, if he served minimum 1 year or any period which specified by the central government, then M3 is responsible. Okay, so the three lists, one is part A which deals with anyone suffers of the diseases which are listed in part A, then employer is liable directly because that is attributable to that kind of employment. And the part B says if any diseases occurs to employee or employee suffers from that disease listed in part B, he should be in service for more than 6 months. And if the employee is in and the diseases which are mentioned in part C, diseases which are mentioned in part C, the central government will specify the number of years to be served or a number of periods to be served. Okay, three conditions for a 3 parts. Let's look into a part A. A part A here is here anything with related to parasitic disease, and then the diseases arises because of working in compressed air, and then working because of a lead or toxic compounds, nitrous fumes, and then phosphorus compounds, organophosphorus compound. All these things are part A. If any diseases happens, then employer is liable to pay here. In case of part B, if any of these diseases occurs, part B, this is all part B, employee should be working in the employer for minimum 6 months. Then only then only employer is liable. Otherwise, employer is not liable. Here, the central government is going to specify the duration. Okay, specify the duration. This is about employer compensation, employer's liability for a compensation. We discussed two. One is compensation for injury by accident and the compensation for occupational disease. So injury, it can be a total disablement or partial disablement. Okay, and in case of occupational diseases, there is a list of part A, part B, and then part C. There is a separate rule for all these things. Part A, employer is liable from the day one. Here, the diseases mentioned in part B, employer is liable if employee served minimum 6 months, and any diseases mentioned in part C, the minimum period central government specifies it. Okay, that's it from an employer's liability perspective. If you have any queries about this, please comment in the comment box below. I request you to please subscribe this channel. Thank you very much.